said he fell asleep on the phone with you. I don't know where your fiance was at for you to be able to fall asleep on the phone with another married man, because he's not divorced yet. And then demand that he check in.
You've heard those nightmare stories before, the kind where a life shatters in a single moment, where the person you trusted with your soul turns out to be a stranger wearing a familiar face. The kind of betrayal that doesn't just wound the heart, it erases history, twists every memory, poisons every smile, every promise, every whispered, "I love you." Makes you wonder if anything was ever real. But this isn't one of those stories. This is far darker. Because what's unfolding around Clarissa Shields right now isn't just gossip. It's the violent collapse of an entire reality she thought was solid. And the man standing at the center of the storm didn't simply step out of line. He didn't just stray. He didn't just deceive. He allegedly constructed an entire second existence, precise, deliberate, merciless. A double life so carefully engineered it makes every other celebrity scandal look amateur. Hidden families, quiet money trails, emotional manipulation woven so tightly that even those closest to her never sense the trap closing in. And the cruelest twist of all? The world isn't mourning with her, it's entertained. Because while Clarissa was fighting for love, legacy, and a future, Papoose was allegedly writing a separate story. One with another woman, another child, and a maze of lies so intricate that tearing it apart might either destroy her completely or forge someone the world has never seen before.
Battle rap, everything is open for battle rap.
Is there
gangster gossip?
Is there a rap battle podcast? Y'all ain't never hear that?
Oh.
We watched her rise into the spotlight with Papoose beside her. Watched her protect him. Watched her swear by him. The trips, the midnight conversations, the way she spoke about their future like it was already sealed by fate. But here's the truth about anything that looks unbreakable. Even stone eventually fractures. And when it does, what's revealed beneath is never beautiful. Because while Clarissa believed she had found her equal, believed she was building something sacred, Papoose was allegedly living a second life so bold it almost feels unreal. If it weren't so devastating. Christmas mornings with Remy Ma. Birthday candles with Remy Ma. Quiet holidays, secret trips, stolen moments that were never meant to exist in Clarissa's world. And now the final blow, Remy Ma is reportedly pregnant, and the child is allegedly his. Not a slip. Not a one-night mistake. A hidden family, growing in silence, while Clarissa remained in the dark, unknowingly financing the very life that was slowly replacing her.
Oh, now we know Remy and Papoose as black love couples. We've been knowing that for years. Pap held Remy down while she served 6 years in prison.
And now we have to follow the money, because this story isn't only about betrayal. It's about control. It's about alleged exploitation hiding behind romance. Insiders claim Clarissa's wealth wasn't simply shared, it was rerouted, quietly redirected, rent covered, flights booked, a secret lifestyle financed, all while she believed she was investing in a future they were building together. But numbers have a way of telling the truth. The leaked records, the shadow accounts, the murmurs from people who watched the cash change hands behind closed doors. And what they describe isn't just infidelity. It's a man who was allegedly stealing pieces of her life in real time, treating her trust like an unlimited credit line and her devotion like collateral. And the most haunting part? She never saw it coming. Not until the files surfaced. Not until the messages leaked. Not until Remy Ma herself reportedly chose to lift the veil and expose the stranger hiding behind the man Clarissa believed was hers.
So things got messy and still getting messy. More on the Remy, Pap, and Clarissa trio. We reported on it yesterday, but things started to escalate. Accusations being thrown from both sides, and is definitely messy on.
But this is where the story turns vicious, because this isn't only about a man living two lives. It's about how the truth detonated, and who is already waiting to pour salt in the wound. Enter 50 Cent, a man who never lets a scandal pass without turning it into spectacle. He didn't stay silent. He posted. He joked. He transformed Clarissa's loyalty into a meme, her devastation into entertainment, her betrayal into a warning shot for anyone foolish enough to love too hard. What did you expect? That was the tone he carried. Like none of this surprised him. Like Papoose's wandering reputation was industry folklore. Like everyone knew the script, except the woman living inside it. And maybe she wasn't alone. Maybe the red flags were always there, hidden beneath the luxury, the public affection, the flawless timelines designed to sell perfection. But love has a dangerous side effect, it dulls instinct. And Clarissa, she wasn't just committed. She was completely surrendered.
I don't give a... I be bored. Responding. Needing something to do. I done worked out.
And then the evidence exploded. The messages, the screenshots, the proof that transformed rumors into a public execution. Remy Ma didn't simply confirm the affair. She displayed it. paraded it. He fell asleep on the phone with Clarissa. She typed like it was comedy. Like another scene in a twisted reality show. Like Clarissa's heartbreak was nothing more than bonus content for the internet. But this wasn't drama. This was a real woman watching her life collapse in real time. Her trust obliterated. Her name dragged across timelines while millions tuned in. And Papoose? His response wasn't regret. It was warfare. Blaming Remy. Exposing her. Posting images of her with other men. Turning betrayal into a scoreboard. Who sinned first? Who hurt who more? As if any of that erased the years of deception, the alleged financial games, the way he hid behind Clarissa's devotion while living an entirely separate reality. But the money, that's where this becomes unforgivable. Because this wasn't only emotional, it was strategic. Insiders claim Clarissa's wealth didn't just support their relationship, it sustained his life with Remy Ma. Vacations, presents, quiet luxury. A man slipping between two worlds effortlessly, while Clarissa unknowingly paid for both. And here's the darkest part, he never planned to choose. Not truly. Why would he? He had everything. A powerful, successful girlfriend financing his freedom, and a wife, possibly pregnant again, waiting patiently in the shadows. It's the kind of calculation that doesn't just shatter hearts, it poisons belief in love itself.
I couldn't really put it together on what possibly could be the relationship there. But yeah, Remy outside the courtroom, standing on business, and she's there, you know, she holding her son down.
And now Clarissa stands alone among the ruins, gathering fragments of a life that was torn apart in front of an audience that never blinks. Her private mourning transformed into public theater. Every tear analyzed. Every late night post screenshotted. Every crack in her voice debated by strangers who once applauded her victories. The fighter who could dominate any opponent inside the ring is now facing something far more merciless, the tribunal of the internet. And in this arena, there are no rules. No bell to stop the blows when they sink too low. Only the endless flood of leaks, the jokes, the memes, the way her suffering has been packaged, labeled, and sold as content. Because that's the cruel law of scandal. It doesn't protect the wounded. It doesn't honor the truth. It only chases attention. And right now, Clarissa's shattered heart is the headline everyone is paying to see.
Say anything about it, but she hopped online to just apologize because it's her event. People pay money to see these rap battles and stuff like that. It's a real thing. The whole rap battle thing is like a real thing. So,
but here's the part nobody is really confronting. Betrayal doesn't end when the relationship does. It lingers. It seeps into everything. It stains every memory, every photograph, every whispered "I love you" that now feels rehearsed. Clarissa didn't just lose a man. She lost the future she believed she was constructing. The faith she had in her own instincts. The illusion that love could be shelter. That loyalty meant protection, not performance. And now she's left replaying everything in her head, searching for the moment she missed, the signs she ignored, the truth she refused to see. Because this is what men like Papoose allegedly do. They don't only betray. They distort. They rewrite your reality until you no longer trust your own mind. They weaponize affection. They turn devotion into leverage. And by the time clarity arrives, the damage is already permanent. And the world? We're not innocent spectators. We're participants. Every click, every share, every "she deserved better" comment feeds the system. The system that converts private devastation into public currency. The system that denies anyone the dignity of healing in silence. Because in 2026, heartbreak isn't sacred. It's marketable. And Clarissa's is the kind that sells, the kind that trends, circulates, and refuses to fade. The kind that keeps us scrolling, refreshing, waiting for the next message, the next leak, the next fragment of her life to be exposed for our consumption. It's merciless. It's nonstop. And this story is nowhere near finished.
Are still investigating the motive behind the shooting, though it was initially believed that a dispute may have led to the violence.
Because this is what people forget about scandals like this. They don't conclude. They mutate. They grow teeth. And right now, we're standing on the edge of something far more dangerous than heartbreak. The money trails are still unfinished. The lawsuits haven't even surfaced. And Papoose? He's not the kind of man who disappears into silence. He's the kind who retaliates, who rewrites the story, who paints himself as the victim and turns the woman he betrayed into the villain of a narrative he controls. And Remy Ma, she's not just an angry wife. She's a tactician, a survivor, someone who understands pressure, optics, power. She's lived through prison, humiliation, headlines, the kind of spotlight that destroys the unprepared. She's not about to let Clarissa exit this story with grace. Not when there's still chaos to unleash. Not when the battlefield is still open. And then there's the baby. The one detail that can never be erased. An unborn child binding Papoose to Remy in a permanent way, a family forming while Clarissa is left reconstructing her life from the ruins of deception. It's the kind of ending that doesn't fade, it echoes. Because no matter what happens next, that child becomes proof. A living reminder of the betrayal. A symbol of the life he chose instead of her. The future he was quietly building while she was still believing in theirs.
Well, this actually happened outside of the courthouse. Remy Ma got into a courthouse altercation with the daughter of the man her son allegedly.
So where does that leave Clarissa now? Right in the center of the hurricane. The leaks haven't slowed. The messages keep surfacing. The crowd keeps gathering, watching, analyzing, predicting how she'll respond, how she'll strike back, how she'll survive the wreckage of a love that was never what it pretended to be. And here's the real question. What cuts deeper? The betrayal itself, or the punishment of being forced to relive it again and again through headlines, memes, hot takes from strangers who have never tasted this kind of humiliation. But here's what we know about Clarissa Shields. She is not built to disappear. She didn't reach champion status by folding under pressure. And if this saga has revealed anything, it's that she's been underestimated before. By Papoose. By Remy Ma. By an audience that thinks heartbreak equals weakness. And history has a warning about that. Underestimating Clarissa is a mistake you only survive once. Because when she rises, and she will rise, it won't be through sobs or apologies. It will be calculated, controlled, strategic. And there is nothing more dangerous than a woman who has been betrayed, publicly humiliated, stripped of illusions, and left with absolutely nothing left to protect.
Jason is only 23 years old, and Remy spoke to TMZ about the situation. She said, "We stand by Jason's innocence and pray that NYPD will conduct a contempt and thorough investigation."
And Papoose, he should be nervous. Because the Clarissa Shields standing on the horizon is not the woman who believed in him. It's the woman shaped by him. The woman who has stared straight into the ugliest corners of loyalty and survived the view. The woman who understands now that the discipline that crowned her a champion in the ring is the same discipline that will carry her through this war. And when she emerges, it won't be silent. It won't be gentle. It will be unforgettable. But we're not there yet, because this story is still breathing. The leaks haven't stopped. The revelations keep landing. The audience is still leaning forward. And Clarissa, she's still standing inside the debris of a love that never truly existed, trying to decide what kind of future can be built from betrayal. And the strangest part? We're all still here, waiting, refreshing, watching for the next chapter in a scandal that has redefined what it means to be blindsided. Because this isn't a breakup. This is a reckoning. And it's nowhere near finished.
It doesn't matter if it's a celebrity or not. If you commit a crime, you're supposed to be paid for the crime you committed.
It could be anybody. It doesn't matter. You know.
And just when it seemed the storm had reached its darkest hour, a new shadow crept in. Because this was never only about a man living two lives. It was about a pattern. A method. A script people close to the situation now claim they recognized long before the explosion. The warnings weren't subtle. They were waving in plain sight, brushed off, rationalized, buried under excuses. Because that's what love does. It trains us to ignore the truths we're not ready to survive. But 50 Cent? He wasn't blind. And he wasn't quiet. He didn't sprinkle commentary. He poured gasoline. He laughed, provoked, and stepped back to watch the flames rise. What did you think would happen? That was the tone. Like he'd been anticipating this collapse. Like he'd always believed Papoose's smooth image was camouflage for something far more deliberate. And the way he ridiculed Clarissa's devotion, that wasn't only mockery. That was a signal. A reminder that in this world, trust isn't protection. It's a risk very few survive. But this is where the narrative bends into something far more dangerous. Because while everyone was hypnotized by the triangle, the messages, the pregnancy, the headlines, other names began drifting to the surface. Other women, other shadows. Rumors that didn't point to a mistake, but to a system. A routine. A method that allegedly stretched far beyond Remy Ma, far beyond Clarissa. People close to the situation now whisper that Papoose's behavior wasn't accidental. It was habitual. A revolving cast of connections, each carefully placed, each serving a purpose, each separated just enough to keep the illusion intact. And then there's the money, the detail that turns scandal into something criminal. Because if the murmurs hold weight, Clarissa may not have been the only source allegedly funding the machine. There are claims, and proven, but relentless, that this was never just about romance. It was about access, about preserving status, about sustaining a lifestyle so expensive it may have required more than one woman's loyalty and more than one woman's fortune to survive.
regardless, I mean, this happened in 2021. So that was what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So the fact that they just getting the information now is.
And then there's the cultural fallout, the chaos that only exists in an era like this. Because in 2026, a scandal doesn't live in tabloids anymore. It lives in real time, on feeds, in comment sections, in viral autopsies that turn someone's private collapse into communal entertainment. Every post Clarissa shares becomes evidence. Every silence becomes suspicious. Every tear gets labeled real or staged depending on who's narrating the moment. The court of public opinion doesn't simply observe, it devours. Her heartbreak plated, seasoned, and served with judgment and cruelty on the side. Because let's be honest, there's a part of the audience that isn't grieving with her. They're enjoying it. The memes, the jokes, the hot takes, the way her devastation has been recycled into content. It's merciless. It's nonstop. And it's the tax of fame in a world where privacy is extinct and every stumble is monetized. But here's what barely anyone is saying out loud. Exposure like this doesn't just wound, it rewires you. Clarissa didn't only lose a relationship. She lost the version of herself who believed in the narrative she was living. The one who trusted the fairy tale. The one who thought loyalty was protection. That the man beside you in public was the same one guarding your heart in private. And now she's not just rebuilding a life, she's rebuilding an identity. Because when the world witnesses your humiliation, dissects your every reaction, and converts your grief into a trending topic, you don't simply recover. You transform. Or you fracture. And right now, no one knows which path Clarissa is about to take.
That's all we know. So that's what we believe. All relationships fail. And no, I don't believe it. Because I know some people been together 50 years, 60 years.
And then we arrive at the money, the quiet center of the storm. Because if even a fraction of these rumors are accurate, this wasn't only emotional manipulation. It was economic warfare. The kind of alleged financial rerouting that doesn't just damage a relationship, it demolishes it. Insiders claim that while Clarissa was building her empire, her brand, her career, her legacy, her earnings were quietly sustaining a life she was never invited into. Flights she never boarded. Presents she never opened. Expenses charged in her orbit for a reality that never belonged to her. And this is the betrayal that cuts the deepest. Because it's not only about loss, it's about violation. About watching trust get converted into transactions. About realizing your devotion wasn't just abused, it was billed. And in a world where Clarissa's value is inseparable from her name, her credibility, her power to control her own story, that kind of breach doesn't heal quickly. It fractures foundations. The kind of wound that doesn't fade in months, but lingers for years.
So that went on for like a couple of months. And then he just told me one day that he loves me, couldn't live without me. And we've been together ever since.
But we can't ignore the other forces moving across this board. Because Remy Ma is not simply a wounded wife, she's a tactician. And history shows one thing clearly, she doesn't lose the long game. The precision. The timing. The way she shaped the narrative and transformed Clarissa's heartbreak into leverage of her own. That isn't instinct. That's strategy. That's a power play unfolding in plain sight. And Papoose? He isn't just an unfaithful man. He's someone who allegedly built an entire existence on the belief that he could possess everything: affection, wealth, status, control, without ever making a choice. Without ever paying a price. Without ever being forced to confront the fallout. But consequences have a reputation. They wait. They gather. And they always arrive. And then there's the baby, the detail that can never be erased. An unborn child binding Papoose to Remy Ma in a permanent way. A family allegedly forming while Clarissa is left reconstructing her life from the wreckage of deception. It's the kind of turn that doesn't fade with time, it lingers. Because no matter what happens next, that child becomes proof. A living reminder of betrayal. A symbol of the life he selected over her. The future he was quietly creating while she was still believing in theirs. And the strangest part? The audience hasn't left. The world is still leaning in. Still waiting. Still refreshing feeds for the next leak, the next screenshot, the next confirmation of what many already suspect, that this story is far larger than it first appeared. That the deception runs deeper. That the most dangerous truth hasn't even surfaced yet.
Y'all wanna know what really gets on my nerves, that grinds my gears. Grinds them so bad. Is that when y'all think I give.
But here's what history already knows about Clarissa Shields. She is built for impact. Fighters don't collapse and disappear. They adapt. They rise. They strike back with precision. And when they return, it isn't through tears. It's through strategy. So while timelines are busy tearing apart her heartbreak, While jokes are still circulating and opinions are still trending, she's somewhere recalculating, reconstructing, rearming. And if there's anything more dangerous than a woman betrayed, it's a woman who has finally seen the truth, who has touched the edge and discovered she's stronger than the chaos meant to destroy her. Because when Clarissa returns, and make no mistake, she will return, she won't walk back as a casualty. She'll come back as the survivor of the ultimate deception. Hardened, focused, unstoppable. And that's when the real story begins. Because what we're watching now, this is only the prologue. The leaks haven't stopped. The pieces are still moving. And the truth, the real truth, is still hovering above this story, waiting to fall. So let me ask you, is Clarissa's heartbreak the closing chapter, or the opening line of something far more dangerous? Tell us what you think below, because this saga is nowhere near finished. Stay sharp, stay watching, and remember, when the world tries to shatter you, sometimes the most ruthless revenge is becoming everything they never saw coming.